Hey there. So, um, I'm going to show you a method of creative writing that I really enjoy. Uh, I've uh, I've drawn a chicken parrot for you as a demonstration of why creative writing is great. Because what do you get when you cross a chicken and a parrot? You get creative writing. All right. So let creatively written. There you go. Okay, so um, let's do this. This is gonna be fun. We're gonna have a good time. Okay. Get rid of some stuff. Okay. So the first thing you want to do is choose three things that you're excited about. Of course, you can do different quantities of numbers, but we're gonna mix them in such a way that it can get really confusing if you do too many of them. And so if you want to be thorough, I recommend starting with just a few. But two is kind of like, you know, two is kind of like mm, you don't get as many interesting interactions between the subjects as you do with three. So I chose for this demonstration. I've chosen three things a little more carefully than I usually do. Usually, what I'll do is just think about. Usually I'll have a couple things on my mind for the past week or so. So, for instance, this week I've been really interested in conversational heuristics, like because I want to make a twine game with interesting conversational mechanics and stuff. And so I would maybe do that, and maybe I would do, you know, making YouTube videos about creative writing because I'm excited about that right now. But I'm trying not to do that one because I'm trying to get away from being too self-referential for this demonstration. Um, so I've carefully chosen three because I want to show you that as long as you're excited about them, they're good choices. So I chose dinosaurs because I'm always excited about dinosaurs. Like, they're just so cool, where they were. And so once you have something that you're excited about, it's a good idea to write down something that makes you excited about them, because your excitement about a dinosaur is completely different than someone else's excitement about a dinosaur. Uh, Someone else might be just incredibly excited about fossils, for instance, whereas you might be excited about thinking about what their actual skin color was or whether or not they had feathers. So it's a good idea to write down just a quick idea of what excites you about dinosaurs. For me, it's that I like the idea that they were grazing creatures the size of multi-story buildings that were as friendly as manatees. Now, it's important to realize here that the things I like about dinosaurs are not true. Uh, I don't think that this is a fair assessment of what dinosaurs were like. But watching cartoons in the '80s and such has given me this feeling that my love of dinosaurs is like a dinotopia kind of love. The idea of like using them as mounts and that type of thing. Like, that's what I like about dinosaurs, and it's not necessarily true, but it's what I like about them. And what's important is that I'm excited about this subject, and this is a good demonstration of why it's important to write down a little bit of a description of why you like the thing. Okay. So then I also wanted to point out that it's okay to be excited about things that you might think are just, consumer electronics, such as the Oculus Rift. I'm super excited about the Oculus Rift. Now, some people might want to choose, America's Next Top Model, or some people might want to choose, Justin Bieber. It doesn't matter, just whatever you're excited about, okay? And why I'm excited about the Oculus Rift is because I'm excited about the possibility of feeling like for those of you who don't know, Oculus Rift is going to be a consumer um, electronic that's going to allow virtual reality computer gaming in the near future. Okay, so I'm excited about the possibility of feeling like I'm walking around inside computer game worlds. It would be like walking around on stage during a theater play where the sets are enormous. So it's not so much I don't know. I don't know why everyone's excited about the Oculus Rift, but I know that the reason I'm excited about it is because I walk around, like Liberty City in GTA 4, or I walk around Skyrim, and in these games, I'm like, wow, this architecture is so cool and stuff. In Assassin's Creed, you get to go into like Venice and stuff. I love walking around those areas, but if I could actually have a helmet on me and look around and like look above me and see what I would see above me if I was that character, that's so cool to me. I'm really excited about it. And so then, oh yeah, I wanted to include something that people might not think of as an excitement, but I do. This is a problem I'm having with my car, and you're saying, why are you excited about a problem you're having with a car? Well, because like worrying about something is a form of excitement, in my opinion. So I wanted to include that, if you have a problem that you need to solve, this creative writing method may help you out. It may make you worry a little more about it, but it's likely that well, at least in my case, the more I apply it to things like creative writing, the more I feel like I'm solving the problem. Even if I'm not, I feel like I'm solving the problem, which gives me a better sense of capability, so that I can then approach the problem confidently, rather than feeling like it's beating me on the head and it's a little magical parasite that just sits on my shoulders and bleeds me. So the problem is water on the engine leaking into the spark plug well, and I detailed that out a little bit. What I'm doing is I'm currently waiting for it to rain so I can see if the water's leaking from the hood. I'm also considering putting, like, it kind of pools on the engine, and then if it pools high enough, it starts leaking into the first two of the spark plug wells. And so I'm also considering putting dielectric grease around the grommet that covers the spark plug well to give it a sealant, but I'm not sure if this is what you're supposed to use dielectric grease with. By the way, I'm not a car guy. I don't know anything about it. I'm just kind of like watching YouTube videos to figure out how to fix my car. I recently changed my spark plugs for the first time, and I enjoyed the success of being able to improve my car, but I'm also scared that I'm going to fuck something up with action or inaction. Like, there's this aspect of car repair where I'm like, am I doing more damage, or am I doing less damage because I'm doing something about it before things get bad? Car problems are a lot like medical problems. There's a sense of like too much effort might do damage, but doing nothing might also do damage. So these are my three choices, okay? And I've color coded them. I've color coded them. I did. Let's see. I gotta write on the correct layer. I've done dinosaurs here in green. I've done the Oculus in blue, and you don't have to do this, but this is for demonstration purposes. And I've done water on the engine leaking into the spark plug well in a brownish orange. Some would say that brown and orange are the same color. I disagree. So that's going to help us remember what it is we're talking about, because we're about to get to the good stuff now. Actually, I think I'll pause the video and come back. Okay, here's where it gets interesting. I've made a little cheat sheet. Dinosaurs are green, Oculus Rift is blue, water on engine is brown. You don't have to color code yours. I'm just doing it so that it'll be easier for you guys to keep track. So let's go ahead and get started. You don't have to draw the specific thing that you've written. But you're going to draw something for each one of them. Okay, so it would probably be a good idea for me to create a margin here so that you get an idea that this is a picture we're drawing. Oh, let's make it a little bigger. Okay. Alright, so in here, we're going to draw a dinosaur. And just like you don't have to draw the actual thing, you can draw the actual thing. So I'm going to draw a dinosaur. He's eating. Yeah, he's got a long tail. He's like a brontosaurus, but brontosauruses never existed. You get the idea. And he's happy. He's eating. These are his, like, these are not very good. Toes. Those are his toes. And give them some shading, a little bit of shading. La, 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 la. You know, we're gonna be looking at the dinosaur for a little while, so we want it to be all right, you know, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, obviously. All right, so we got ourselves a dinosaur. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna color him a little bit. I'm gonna put a little color in him. That'll be nice. Let's see. Make it a little bigger. Oh, I'm gonna adjust my brush size again later. Yeah. Oh, now he looks furry. That's not what I wanted. Let's see. I'll make it. Yeah. Okay. So next we're going to draw the Oculus Rift, but we're not actually going to draw the Oculus Rift because I want to demonstrate that you don't actually have to draw the thing that you wrote. You're just drawing something that will symbolize it for our purposes, because we haven't even gotten to the writing part of the creative writing method. We're at the drawing part. Okay, so there we got a dinosaur, and then now we're going to draw something that symbolizes the Oculus Rift, but it doesn't actually have to do that in real life. It's just doing it for our purposes. What do I want to draw in this area? Let's see, I'm going to go with a windmill would be awesome. Draw a windmill. Oh, it looks like a giant bird, doesn't it? Should I go giant bird? Or should I go... No, I think the windmill's still what I want to do. Okay. So this is not an Oculus Rift, but we're going to use it to symbolize the Oculus Rift. This is a power generating windmill. But you know what? Usually they have multiples of those, you know? They don't just have one. So we're going to draw a bunch of them. Oh boy. I'm not going to be able to deal with that one. Okay. Yeah. And then we'll make it so that they're going off into the distance here. We're going to generate a lot of power with this mother. Okay. Alright. Let's go ahead and give it a horizon. No, we should draw the water on the engine first. Ooh, okay, let's see. We're going to do brown. Obviously, I'm not going to draw water on the engine because that would be... You've seen my skills. So, I'm going to draw... How about a little... Oh, I got it. Poop. Dinosaur poop. Could be water on the engine. Alright. There we go. Now we have a drawing. Okay, this is... Now I'll put the horizon in. We have a drawing. And this is where we start creatively writing. You know what, I would... Is that... He needs to be eating something. How about an apple? Can he eat an apple? Maybe he's eating an apple. Oh, it looks like a little tongue. Isn't that cute? Oh, maybe he's like an ant-eating dinosaur. Let's put a little hole for him to stick his tongue in to eat ants. Oh, but it should be an anthill, shouldn't it? So he's an ant-eating dinosaur. Awesome. Okay, so now we have a drawing. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to do some iconography or like symbological symbolism interpretations of this picture, and we're going to reapply them back to our old concepts. Alright, so I don't know where to write that, but here's our picture. So yeah, hold on. Alright, so now we're going to re-examine the relationships between these things with our picture. So let's see. Let's start with Oculus Rift and water on the engine. Let's see, water on the engine is brown. We made it that poop. Okay, so let me get my pen out. So this poop here is the water on the engine, and then the windmills here are the oculus. So, what is the relationship between those two things in this picture? Hmm. Boy, I don't know. Okay, I don't know. We'll come back to that. Let's see. What is the relationship between um, dinosaurs and the Oculus Rift? Okay, they're both tall. Uh huh. There's there's this there's this ginormous quality to them both. They're both very tall and awesome in that way. Okay, so what was our? Let's go back and look at what the original excitement was about dinosaurs in the Oculus Rift, because we're thinking about the fact that they're both tall. Okay. I like the idea that they were grazing creatures the size of multi-story buildings, which again they weren't. That were as friendly as manatees. Okay, so there's a tallness to that. I'm excited about the possibility of feeling like I'm walking around inside a computer game world. Oh, being able to look up. You know, oh, and the sets are enormous. It says that right there. The sets are enormous. Okay. So there's an aspect of largeness um, awe-inspiring mass. Yeah. Okay. So let's go ahead and write that down, because that is a good quality. That is a good example of what we're trying to do here. All right. I drew all over the place. Let me start a new layer. Okay. So. Should I do it that way, guys? Or maybe I should use the actual text tool. Okay. So our concept here is that dinosaurs and the Oculus Rift both seem to use awe-inspiring size and mass in order to inspire and enthuse. Okay? Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense to you. Dinosaurs and the Oculus Rift both seem to use awe-inspiring mass and size, or inspiring size and mass in order to inspire and enthuse. That's good. We've just creatively written. Okay. And now that we are still high from that success, we're going to look at the picture again. And let's see. Let's look at what was the one we couldn't do? Water and engine, Oculus. So let's do water and engine and dinosaurs. What's going on there? Got the poop. We got the dinosaur. Oh, well, there's certainly a relationship between that. Okay, so the dino's eating the Oculus, or the water on the engine is the excrement from the dinosaur. Turns into oil and stuff, but that's not a relationship with the dinosaur. That's with us. So let's see. The excrement. Okay, well, excrement's a great thing because it's always so symbolic. The reason it's symbolic is because it always asks you, if it's the excrement, then what is the food? So, where did our awesome description go? Oh, up here, I think. Yeah, okay. So, let me go and make that bigger while we're at it. Okay, so the water on the engine is the excrement of the dinosaur. Okay, we'll write that down. Water on the engine is excrement of the dinosaur. So what is the food? See, the food would be using the car. Yeah? The ability to use the car? The ability to get to work and not have to live at my job, because that's pretty much what I use the car for, to get to work and back. So, okay. So, what's the relationship between that and dinosaurs? I like the idea of riding. Okay, so the car and I suppose the car and the dinosaur, both of them are fantasies of mobility. So, dinosaur represents a more appealing, fantastical method to get to work. I think that is the case. That is absolutely the case. But dinosaurs, if they were my way to get to work, then water in the engine would be the dino getting sick. Am I right? Or at least misbehaving. So this is kind of like, so if the dinosaur is my car to get to work, what would be its version of water on the engine that leaks into the spark plugs? Sorry. Spark plug. So as you can tell, it gets nonsensical. That's totally cool. As long as there's a logic to it. It doesn't have to be a perfect logic. It just has to be, you need to be reasoning some here. You can take all the liberties you want, but do realize that the more liberties you take, the more confused you can get. So it's best to make the symbolism as reflective, try to focus on doing it in such a way that someone, if you were to explain this to someone else, they would be like, oh, I don't agree with you, but I see where you can get there. That's my kind of rules of logic there. That's about how much you want. If the dinosaur is my car to get to work, what would be its version of water on the engine that leaks into the spark plug wells? That's a great question. I would never be asking myself this question had I not been doing this creative writing method. If the dinosaur is my car to get to work, what would be its version of water on the engine that leaks into the spark plug wells? Well, it's not going to be anything that just completely knocks it out, because I'm still able to get to work and find, and I'm waiting for rain to see what happens. So I'm going to go with, it's a bum knee that only acts up when it's humid outside. The dino has a bum knee that acts up when it's going to rain. What would I do about that? I would live with it, I mean, what else can you do about a bum knee? Maybe... Oh. The wife's calling. Hold on. Alright. So, where were we? The dino has a bum knee that acts up when it's going to rain. That is our forced association. Alright, so let's go back and look at what my plan is for the car. Let's see. I'm waiting for it to rain so I can see if the water's leaking from the hood somewhere. Okay, so that's kind of like waiting for it to rain to see, for the bum knee to act up, because without symptoms it's hard to take care of the problem. I mean, same situation, am I right? I am considering putting dielectric grease on the grommet that covers the spark plug well. Sounds kind of like, I got some balm or something, what's that stuff that salves? Let's see. Or maybe, the idea of lubricating the knee. But no, because I'm trying to keep water out. Oh, so this would be more similar to, wrapping saran... Oh, I wonder if that would work. If someone wraps saran wrap around their knee, does it still... I mean, that question's so interesting that we need to just go ahead and write it down. As a fascinating possibility. Okay. I'm gonna write it down here. Sorry, every once in a while I break out in K-pop. Let's see, 24. We want this to be, yeah. Okay, when someone with a bum knee that acts up when it rains wraps their knee in plastic wrap to keep out the humidity. Does the knee continue to be sore? That's a great question. We wouldn't know that had we not been doing this creative writing exercise. Okay, so back to what my possible solutions are. Waiting for it to rain. It's a lot easier. I gotta be honest. It's a lot easier to do this alone when I'm not trying to explain it while I'm doing it. But I'm doing this for you. I'm doing this so that you can also have the experience. I've gotten so much success from this method. I've come up with such amazing and interesting ideas that I was able to take and develop even farther with this great method. Okay, dielectric grease on the grommet that covers the spark plug well. I recently changed my spark plugs for the first time and I enjoyed the success of being able to improve the car. So it's kind of like, imagine if you had a dinosaur and you healed it. What that would be like. You know, the excrement from the dinosaur isn't always smelly. Sometimes it's sweet. But I'm scared that I'm going to fuck up something with action or inaction. I think, if I was in charge of taking care of a large animal, I would be kind of stressed out about whether or not, can you imagine, like, trying to do surgery on a dinosaur? Oh, I never even thought about that. Not even dinosaurs like that were actually existing, but imagine a dinosaur that is the way I imagine it, where it's much larger than they actually were in real life. Because, like, a Tyrannosaurus Rex was only, like 12 feet high or something. But when I think about them, I think of them being like 50 feet high, So imagine doing like veterinarian surgery on a lizard that's actually like 50 feet high. That'd be wild. I can't even imagine. It would be a lot like doing car repair, only it's a sentient being. So let's look back at our picture now that we've contemplated these things. See what we can get out of that. Why is this thing still here? I'll get the pin out. Maybe it'll make it go away. No, I can't get that to go away. So the excrement here is water on the engine, and the dinosaur is dinosaurs, but it's also the excitement about new ways of mobility. So let's put that here. Fantastic mobility. This is the upkeep and all that entails. Okay. Then now what was the one we couldn't do before? Maybe we can do it now that we know more about these. Let's see, was it Oculus Rift and water on the engine? I believe so. Okay, so we got, when we think about water on the engine as being more broadly upkeep, what does the Oculus Rift have to do with upkeep, or what do the windmills, what's the relationship between the windmills and the excrement? I don't know. Because it doesn't like fertilize windmills, you know? It doesn't seem like it's even related in the picture. I have a hard time finding a relation. Except for that the Oculus Rift doesn't seem to have excrement. It's got more mechanical problems in the picture, but I'm sure that it will have upkeep. Maybe that's part of my fantasy about the Oculus Rift, is that maybe the reason I'm so excited about the consumer model is because I think that it'll have less upkeep. I don't see what we're really getting out of that. Was there an original question? No. Sometimes I have an original question when I do this creative writing method, but right now it's just trying to demonstrate it. And the reason I ask if there was an original question is because it helps me refocus on what it is I'm trying to accomplish. But right now I'm trying to accomplish a demonstration. So how can I relate the Oculus Rift and the water on the engine through this picture in such a way that it will demonstrate the abilities of this picture? I think I'm feeling a sense of urgency because you guys are waiting for me to figure this out. Maybe you should figure it out. Okay, let's do that. So we got a pile of poo, dinosaur poo, and then we got windmills. What are some relationships between these two things? Well, I guess we can imagine. I have no clue how these two things are related. I'm stuck. Let's see. A pile of poo from an ant-eating dinosaur. Windmill. Well, okay. I got a plan. What we need to do is ask ourselves, what is the windmill powering? In this fantastical land where we can ride dinosaurs to work instead of using electric cars or gas engines, what do the windmills power? And I think the obvious answer to that is Oculus Rifts. So if the windmills are powering Oculus Rifts, excrement is having to go to the bathroom. So having to take it off Oculus to go take a shit. So it's this like this necessity to remove yourself from the simulation. Okay, we're gonna go with that. Because we were really struggling with that one. All right. Sorry about all the slow spots, everybody. Oops. I'm not that familiar with GIMP. Okay. The excrement is a analog world necessity which removes us from simulation. That is of the Oculus Rift. Okay. So upkeep, because what we're doing is we're remembering all of the different kind of like meanings and symbols that we have been coming up with as we've been trying to figure out how these things relate to each other. And upkeep was one of the ones that we focused on for a little while. So upkeep of equipment, for instance, upkeep of the Oculus Rift gives us perspective outside of use. Oh, I like that. Ooh, I like that. So, you know, people say this type of thing about medical stuff and repair stuff all the time. What's the phrase? You don't know what you have until you lose it. So there's this sense of appreciation through loss. But it's a little more complex because the loss is not only temporary, hopefully, it necessitates what is it I'm looking for? Effort from the user outside of use. So what I'm trying to say there is that let's suppose the Oculus Rift broke down after I have one, and then I had to fix it a little bit. What it does is it takes me out of the use of the Oculus Rift and makes me have to treat the Oculus Rift as a thing that I'm manipulating in order to return to use. But in doing so, it drastically changes my perspective on the use itself. Okay, let's see, I need to probably write that a little more clearly because writing is all about clear communication. Now, with this creative writing method, you're probably laughing at me saying, this is not clear at all. I understand that concept. It isn't clear at all. But I kind of know what's going on in it, and the idea is that this isn't even a first draft, yo. This is like a 0.3 draft. This is where I'm just coming up with ideas that I can further refine until I have something interesting to say, and then I'm refining it will be trying to say it clearly, because these are really complex ideas. Even though they don't seem very applicable, once the closer you get to refining the ideas so that communication is clear, the more applicable it'll become. That's why it's important to clearly communicate, because without clear communication, there's no applicability. And why would you do something with no applicability? You wouldn't, because thered be no reason. Okay, so what were we saying here? How can we say it more clearly? You don't know what you have until you lose it. Sense of appreciation through loss. Through lose. Which, yeah, let's just go with that. But a little more complex because the lose is not temporary. The lose is not temporary. Only temporary. It necessitates effort from the user outside of use. So, okay, and that perspective from outside use affects the perspective on use itself. I can say that this is the case with my car because as I'm driving down the road, I'm trying to listen to the engine more ever since I changed the spark plugs. I'm paying attention to whether or not it has more power. I'm recording how much fuel I'm burning on the same route, that kind of thing. So it's like I've become more involved in the driving it is driving it isn't just something I'm using the car for now. Driving it is part of my diagnostic process, which is kind of that's exactly what we're talking about here. So how what is a clear way to sum this up? By by um putting effort into upkeep of tools, you use of the tools becomes what does use of the tools become? Use of the tools becomes more, not less of something. Use of the tools becomes part of the upkeep. And I guess what I'm trying to imply there is that there is value to that. It's a kind of a more holistic view of using electronics, is that when you're involved with their upkeep and with their idiosyncratic methods of application and modding it and such, it's not a purely consumeristic experience. It's more of a creative one. Turning a consumeristic experience into a creative one. Okay, I think that's a pretty cool idea that we wouldn't have gotten had we not been doing this creative writing exercise. Okay, so let's go back to our drawing and look at what's going on there. How do I get rid of that thing? Okay. So the excrement is related to the windmills because it is a reminder that the windmills will require upkeep. Word. Alright. So is there anything we haven't related yet? Let's see. I need to erase some of this stuff, don't I? Oculus Rift, dinosaurs, Oculus Rift, water on the engine. Dinosaurs and water, we've done that. Oculus Rift and dinosaurs, we've done that. Oculus Rift and water on the engine, we just did that. So we've related all of these things in such a way, and what have we ended up with? We've ended up with a picture of these things, and we ended up with these ideas. That, I mean, obviously it's going to take some effort to work these into something, but we have ideas to work into stuff, and we didn't really have that before. Dinosaurs and the Oculus Rift both seem to use awe-inspiring size and mass in order to inspire and enthuse. Water on the engine is excrement of the dinosaur, so what is the food? Car use, fantastical, okay. Yeah, maintenance. Alright, I don't know where else to take this, but this is the basic idea. Usually I end up having a question, and by the end of it I have like this super long, well, not super long, but super interesting hypothesis of what would be fun to do. Like, so for instance, I just recently did one on conversational heuristics and conversational behaviors for a Twine game, and by the end of it I was like, wow, I had used the relationships of forum users as one of the details, and I'd used shit, I can't remember what else I used, but by the end of it I was having these really interesting ideas about how the difference between heuristics and behaviors is the way that it's witnessed and the effect it has on the listener. And it was this really interesting exercise. And that type of thing can happen if you, if you take your examples and kind of focus them into a question, which maybe I should have done, but I wanted to demonstrate. So that's the idea. All right, have fun. I really enjoyed this. Where's the pin so I can stop the recording?